Hi, it's Clover. Thanks for coming back to my channel. As promised, I wanted to do another post on dating anxiety. And if you haven't read the last post, not read, I'm in blog mode if you can't tell. But if you haven't watched the last post, the last YouTube video, I would encourage you to go back and watch the first part because I talk about what dating anxiety is and kind of how I've been experiencing it and why I want to address it. So today I wanted to talk a little bit more about how I am determining whether or not my anxiety is valid or if it's coming from a place of the trauma brain. If it's like coming from the part of my brain that still is recovering from PTSD, or if it's self-sabotaging behaviors, and how I kind of determine what it is. If it's totally valid anxiety, or if it's kind of self-sabotaging. So anyway, I have a method for it, and it's been helping me a lot as I have been navigating a new relationship, because my trauma brain does oftentimes want to think worst case scenario for pretty much any situation that feels even slightly uncomfortable, and that can be anything as small as I haven't heard from a person in 2 hours to, the big stuff makes sense. See, even in my brain, I'm like, I can't think of a big thing because it's not a false big thing if it's a big thing. But, it can be as small as waiting for a text message and thinking that this person's probably lost interest because it's been 2 whole hours since they've seen and not responded to my text, to, this person can't see me for a week and a half because of work. And then I think, well, maybe they're just fucking with me. So, I still have struggled with that because of my past experiences, and my past experiences have also made me hyper vigilant in trying to recognize my gut, because I've done a really good job at ignoring my gut for the last, I'm 27 and I've been dating since I was probably 14, so how many years is that? I'm not good at math. 13 years. 13 years. Yeah, that's what that is. So I would say for the past 13 years, I have done a really good job of not dating in a way that's helpful to me. There were breaks in between that, but I'm not going to get on that side tangent. So anyway, figuring out if the anxiety that I feel is coming from a place of self-sabotage or that gut that says, no, listen to your gut and run away because something's actually wrong here. It's a process, and it's like learning how to be intuitive all over again, which I think is something that we're probably born with, and then it gets pounded out of us. So what I've been doing is kind of like a math problem, says the woman who hates math and studied English. So what I'll do is I will evaluate if what I am feeling is rational or logical based off of the evidence that I've been presented. So I'm going to give you 3 different scenarios. So scenario 1, somebody says, I like you and I want to spend time with you. Okay, cool. So what's the evidence that I have to support that? Well, this person texts me when they want to. They text me pretty consistently throughout the day. Communication is pretty much back and forth. They make plans with me, and they keep an open form of communication. So for the most part, what they're saying matches with what they're doing. So contextually, if we look at the whole context of that situation, and we think about it from, all right, I've been dating this person for a couple of months, and things are going pretty good, and for the most part, it's been consistent. In that kind of situation, I don't really have any anxiety because again, what the person says matches what they do. So if in this situation where what they're saying matches what they do, I have lots of anxiety over it, it's pretty easy for me to tell that that's probably coming from a self-sabotaging place or coming from my trauma brain. And it's easy because all the evidence I've been presented is pretty good evidence. If somebody says that they like you and they keep talking to you and they keep you emotionally in the loop and they want to hang out with you and they actually hang out with you, it's pretty easy to see like, okay, this is good. This is what this person is saying is what they do, and we're good. So any anxiety I feel towards that is probably a little bit of self-sabotage, which is good in of its own right because I can manage that. I can't manage somebody being inconsistent necessarily. So let's move on to scenario 2. So scenario 2, what I'm hearing, same thing. I'm interested in you. I want to keep seeing you. The context of this one's a little bit different because even though I'm hearing this, what I'm getting in return is text messages in the middle of the night, long periods where I don't hear from the person, text messages that they never respond to, invites that get kind of brushed off, and I like this person and I want to get to know them, but I don't ever get to see them because I'm constantly getting brushed off. So contextually, what this person is saying is not really matching what they're doing. So for me, it's pretty easy for me to see why I'm anxious if I have any anxiety over this, because there is a disconnect between what this person's saying and what this person is doing. Now, a younger version of myself probably would have felt a lot of anxiety towards this because I would have thought that I could make someone like me. But the older I get, the more I'm realizing, 1, I don't want to make someone like me, and 2, I can't make someone like me because I am too much of my own person, and that person's probably not going to change unless I want to change her. And I think I'm kind of awesome. So, like, if someone doesn't like me, that's really not my issue. So it may still give me a little bit of anxiety because my ego's like, fuck you, why don't you like me? But for the most part, I know what to do. So the anxiety, it's logical and it's rational because there's a disconnect between what someone is saying and what they are doing. But it's not me doing self-sabotage. It is me recognizing, this person's inconsistent and I don't like it. And that is my gut saying, get the fuck out of there. So this kind of situation, low anxiety, pretty easy to evaluate. Sometimes it's easy to let go of. Sometimes it just depends on the situation. But I don't have nearly as much issues with this kind of scenario in dating anymore because it's easy for me to recognize and it's easy for me to be like, yeah, this isn't what I'm into. Unless I'm just into a few booty calls at that time, which, maybe. So, scenario 3. Same situation. I'm hearing the same stuff. I like you, and I want to spend time with you. Contextually, things get a little bit fuzzy. So, yeah, they like me and they want to spend time with me, but the texting's a little bit platonic feeling. I don't ever get any emotional vibes, and it's kind of inconsistent. Sometimes it'll go, 6 hours without me hearing from this person or getting a response. But then sometimes it's all the time, and it's these really long text messages, and it seems like we're vibing, but at the same time, it's been a couple of months, so why am I not hearing more emotionally or getting this emotional openness? Even though the reliability is there, this person always texts me. They text me every single day. So we hang out. They don't tell me that we're going to hang out and then don't hang out with me. And for the most part, when he can't hang out, they're pretty good excuses. So it's like family issues, it's stress, it's exhaustion, it's working hours, it's different schedules. It's things that I can rationalize. But this scenario gives me the most amount of anxiety because in situations like this, where I don't really know what's going on, and if I'm not getting that emotional connection via text message, which I understand, a lot of people cannot be emotional via text message, but I'm kind of like one of those people who's very good at being vulnerable and very good at being open and not afraid of sharing how I feel, unless I notice that this person is not catching what I'm throwing down. So, on the flip side though, I understand why, and I understand that not everyone's as open as I am, and I also understand that there's a time and place for being open, and maybe this person doesn't feel like text message is the place for that. So, this situation, I find myself anxious a lot because I find myself playing detective and not wanting to ask because I'm not wanting to put a person in a place where they feel uncomfortable because I'm asking them to explain their emotions and their feelings via text message, and I don't like calling people on the phone. So I just kind of like let it simmer, this anxiety and trying to figure out what this person is thinking, until it pops. And I eventually say, what the fuck is going on? I don't understand. Like, you're not telling me how you're feeling, and I need to know how you're feeling. I'm not perfect. But this is the situation that I've been dealing with a lot. And it is what I'm going to continue to talk about, because what's interesting about this situation is it is really hard for me to identify if it's me doing self-sabotage, or if it's a gut feeling saying, dude, this guy's not into you. Because I'm pretty sure it's not just either of those. Because for one, there's inconsistencies. And so that's okay. So it makes sense that I feel a little bit of anxiety, because inconsistencies they cause anxiety when I'm dating somebody else. However, I can also see that there's probably a little bit of self-sabotage going on too. Because the evidence I've been presented for the most part, especially when I say, hey, what's going on? I need a little bit of I need you to open up a little bit. It's received well. And there's never been any instances of dishonesty. There's never been any instances of lying. There's never been anything that couldn't have been explained rationally or with a really good excuse. So, we're going to talk a little bit more about what I have been doing to mitigate this kind of anxiety, because it's definitely one that I face a lot, especially because I'm a super empathetic person. I've got some tips and tricks that have really been helping, and I wrote this post a couple of weeks ago. So in those couple of weeks, every week that I continue to do this, the anxiety gets a little bit better. And I think it's partially because of what I've been doing. So I will be back very soon. That was a finger gun if you didn't see it the first time. I'm excited to keep sharing about this topic, because I think a lot of people deal with dating anxiety, and we feel kind of stupid for talking about it, because it kind of makes us feel a little bit like, it makes me feel like there's something wrong with me, even though I know there's probably lots of things wrong with me, but in like a good way. So anyway, I am looking forward to sharing with you again soon. So thanks for watching, and if you like these videos, press the subscribe button down below. Thanks a lot. Bye!